Go ahead, what's your question?
Rob, why is my hair falling out?
Okay, so how many of you guys know what the magnetic field of our planet is? So that's two. Do you? All three of you know what that is then? How about, do you know what the heliosphere is?
No.
No.
Do you understand what sunspots and solar cycles are?
I know what a solar flare is.
Do you understand what sunspots are?
I've
Anybody?
never heard sunspots before.
All right, let me explain. Our sun is in what they call goes through cycles. They're 11.09 years long. Okay, where it's they call solar maximum and solar minimum. Okay, all right. So every 11.09 years, make sure you're doing. Hey, pay attention.
Get off your phone,
Pay
Noah.
attention. It's
Paying
important
attention.
stuff, young man. All right, so our sun goes through these cycles, okay, where it's has a lot of sunspots, okay, and then it goes through cycles where it has very few sunspots, okay. We're in this cycle right now where our sun has not produced a sunspot in 285 days, okay. The sunspots, as the sun spins around every 27 days, it creates the solar wind, okay, and magnetic fields, okay? So when the sun is in a maximum, it's producing energy and electricity, so it makes our magnetic field really strong, and the sun's magnetic field around our solar system really strong, okay? So that's in sun maximum. When we're in the sun minimum, okay, the sun produces less energy. It like takes a nap, say, and then when that happens, our magnetic field loses its energy, okay, and the sun's magnetic field, the heliosphere, shrinks and loses its energy, okay. These two things, the magnetic field of our planet and the heliosphere of the sun, its magnetic field around our whole solar system, protects us from intergalactic radiation, gamma rays, high burst energy, things that when we're exposed to these things affects our bodies in many different ways. Radiation does lots of different things that's harmful to biological life, like your hair falling out. Causes of cancer, skin cancer from ultraviolet radiation from the sun. You know, we all know this stuff because we've been taught that ultraviolet radiation's no good, okay? Just because the sun is in a no sunspot cycle, that it gets brighter, so it's producing a lot more ultraviolet radiation that hits our skin. With the magnetic field being weak, we're all getting affected by this ultraviolet radiation, okay? But there are things that you can do to protect yourself from them by paying attention to these sunspots and what the sun is doing by, getting space weather news or what, and paying attention, because there's certain times of the day when you probably should not be outside, because the index of radiation gets very high, ultraviolet, okay? Also, in this effect with this grand solar minimum, what they're calling it, because the sun has not produced sunspots in a while, that all these electrical things I'm talking about, the magnetic field, the heliosphere, and all that stuff, they get shrunken and weak, and these radiation particles rain down upon us, okay? You notice all the clouds that we have?
Yes.
You guys all notice that, right? It's like weird. Wow, how's that happening? What's happening is radiation particles hit the top of our atmosphere, the ionosphere, and it ionizes it, and it makes these crazy clouds and stuff that, makes it look weird to us because we've never seen the sun. That it has gone without sunspots that long. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, where I'm going with this is that you guys should all pay attention to what is happening now, because they're saying that this grand solar minimum, which as many years as I've been studying this stuff, is factual and not bullcrap, okay? So in other words, while we're in this grand solar minimum, it could last a long, long time, okay? And also another effect that is happening is our magnetic field of the planet is in what they call a pole excursion. So the magnetic North Pole and the magnetic South Pole they're moving very fast. Over a period of time, they've always kept track of how much this moves. Okay, so over the years, they usually say both poles would move at about 5 miles per year. Okay, well it's moving quite a bit now. It's the North Pole has moved so much that they actually have to go in and recalculate our GPS stuff so that it's, imagine. Yeah, if our magnetic pole, when it's moving like this, is moving all this weather systems and our jet streams and the polar vortexes. So it's kind of the magnetism in the water vapor, and they're attracted to each other. So the magnetic pole is in its shift, it's dragging all this weather with it because these particles are attracted to each other. Okay, so right now NASA and these scientists, they're not quite sure whether we're in a pole reversal or a magnetic excursion. To me, when I look at the evidence, because the United States Navy kept track of these measurements in the magnetic pole and the deep sea canyons while the magma comes up out of the ground and the land separates. So when this magma dries, it orientates itself with magnetic north. So they're able to actually take and measure this stuff, how many years it takes for the magnetic pole to do its thing and flip reversals, okay? So what they're saying is if this magnetic pole thing reverses because the sun's not producing enough energy, or we're going through a place in the galaxy that's a negative charge to affect the magnetic poles of the sun and our Earth, that it could be a catastrophe type of deal for us. Any questions about that? What questions? Any questions? Radiation? Nothing?
No.
Does that answer your question about why you're losing hair?
Radiation. So like just certain times of the day to stay out of the sun?
There's certain times of the day in the week, okay? Because the sun is constantly,
So how is the average person supposed to know when this is happening?
like I told you, you get on your phones. That's why we have these technology, and you follow the space weather news. Okay, they have alerts.
Yeah, I got the NASA.
So every day before you go outside.
I'm not sure that NASA's really given us the whole gig. Is you have to. There's a space weather news. Is these scientists that are not part of the system still get that type of data and give it to us. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the school
You can,
that
like,
I go to.
Search
So I'm
for
not so
radiation
sure
each
that.
day.
I'm not so sure that NASA's given us the exact, you know what I mean? So we're
Yes.
doing that on our own. Okay, so the studies that we've done on our own suggest that our magnetic pole's going to flip. Okay, and if that happens, you might want to be aware because some things happen that are not good. Like ice sheets. Could you imagine a 4-mile high ice sheet over us right now? These things can happen, and when they do, they happen quick. With the ice, anyway. I don't know about 4 miles high. I'm just saying that. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying is that that every 12,000 years or so, our planet goes through what they call extinction level events, and what that means is that, like I was telling your mom, when these stars she's seeing or reading about or popping off out in the galaxy, it's the way that life, something dies and when these things die, it rebirths other stars and planets. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? But as we go through the galaxy, they're just now figuring out what these waves from the center of our galaxy does. And they're just starting to figure out the magnetic energy that, you know how magnets work. You take
Yes.
one and they stick together, and then you take the other side and it repels. It's the same concept, only on a bigger scale. So if we're going through the galaxy and we hit this point that's negatively charged, maybe our planet's positively charged, and we hit this negative, it's going to create consequences. A ripple, you know what I mean, cause things to move around.
Yeah.
You understand? And volcanoes, with the sun being in this grand solar minimum, it's not producing the energy. And as we spin that 27 days, the sun spins 27 days, we get magnetically connected to it. Every 27 days, when we get magnetically connected to the sun, it starts to cause earthquakes, upticks, and volcanoes to go off. And, you know, they think that all this stuff will get worse. So pay attention to this grand solar minimum. It's no joke, okay? It's serious. Now let's go give you a haircut. Class is over. Did that all go?
Yeah.